There is one name that ChatGPT apparently will not say. Here's why that might matter. Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the daily AI news you need in around 5 minutes. Here's something kind of interesting. A bunch of people have been talking for the last few days about why ChatGPT is refusing to say a specific name. That name is David Meyer, and if you ask ChatGPT to say it, even if you try to work around it, it apparently prematurely ends the conversation. Basically, over the weekend, people started to notice that ChatGPT was censoring this particular name. It came up on the Reddit ChatGPT board and took a weird twist after the original poster deleted their post about the censorship. One Reddit poster wrote, "This is such a bizarre case of the Streisand effect. Like no one would have given a crap about his name on ChatGPT before, but the sheer severity of the censorship suddenly makes it far weirder. Why just his name? Why does it literally stonewall any response?" Justine Moore from A16Z wrote, "One of my favorite attempts is someone changing their own personalization settings to make the name David Meyer. It still doesn't work." She showed a response where ChatGPT said it was unable to produce the response and then gave her an error. Another Reddit user, Jupil Juna, wrote, "In the last 48 hours, the mystery of ChatGPT treating David Meyer as he who should not be named has begun to go viral on social media. And at the time of writing this, some news outlets have already started reporting about it. Well, I love mystery, so I dug a bit further. I found a total of 6 names that triggered the same censorship: Brian Hood, Jonathan Turley, Jonathan Zittrain, David Faber, David Meyer, Guido Scorza." From there, this poster wrote a little bit about each person. Brian Hood threatened to sue OpenAI for defamation after ChatGPT falsely claimed the Australian mayor had served time in prison for bribery. Jonathan Turley is an American law professor and political commentator who ChatGPT falsely claimed he had sexually assaulted students. Jonathan Zittrain is a Harvard law professor who replied to tweets denying that he himself requested to be removed from ChatGPT. The poster wrote, "The first 2 cases of Brian Hood and Jonathan Turley are very obvious and paint a clear picture to why the censorship was invented. It's a last resort fallback to prevent misinformation in situations where a significant threat of legal action is present. We also know that the censor is not built in the LLM itself, as other platforms using the API are not affected, and ChatGPT can be tricked into accessing info about this people." Now, when it came to David Meyer, the 2 suggestions were David Meyer to Rothschild and David Meyer, a historian who was falsely placed on an American terrorism blacklist. Now, in terms of why people care, it's summed up by a user on a ChatGPT forum who wrote, "I think the lesson here is that ChatGPT is going to be highly controlled to protect the interest of those with the ways and means to make it do so." And indeed, that's really the issue here. It's not so much that it matters who David Meyer is. It's that in a world where ChatGPT becomes if not the source of truth, censorship matters all the more. Staying on the OpenAI train, SoftBank is getting another slug of the company, as OpenAI is allowing employees to sell their shares worth up to $1.5 billion to SoftBank. This is a tender offer where SoftBank is the only investor involved, and is a way for early employees at OpenAI to get some liquidity. SoftBank's Masayoshi Son has definitely been indicating that he cares more and more about AI these days. In June of this year, he said, "SoftBank was founded for what purpose? It may sound strange, but I think I was born to realize artificial superintelligence. I'm super serious about it." For OpenAI, the jumbo-sized tender offer solves a big problem. The company had previously limited employees' ability to access liquidity on the secondary market during their annual tender offers. In June, CNBC reported that former employees were limited to $2 million in liquidity, while current employees could only cash out $10 million. The policy led to staff complaints showing up in the media, particularly around a clause that allowed OpenAI to claw back vested equity. Those policies have since been changed, but it's clear that they're trying to give employees more ability to cash in on their equity equivalents. You know what, at this point, this whole headlines might just be OpenAI. Obviously, a big story and big theme right now is the rise of reasoning models, and The Information recently wrote about who is paying for OpenAI's O1 model. OpenAI's chief commercial officer, GC Leonetti, told The Information that O1 is unlocking a set of new markets. The specific industries that Leonetti mentioned included the legal industry, where O1 can carry out math calculations or analyze term sheets. Another area is healthcare companies, which are using O1 to price medical claims and analyze complex data sets. And another is manufacturing, where Leonetti claims that O1 can analyze and speed up industrial processes. The interesting thing here is how much O1 costs compared to other models. The preview version of O1 costs about 6x what the GPT-4o model costs, and they have apparently discussed charging as much as $2,000 per month for access to the full version of O1. Leonetti also made clear that where this is headed is the agent category, saying, "Over time, you will see us start to veer into the agents category. We believe we've started to solve the first step of that with O1, and agents are the next step for us." For now, though, that is where we will wrap this very OpenAI-themed headlines and move on to our main episode.